Hello my dear students and my dear learners, right, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel Amjad Online Academy, right? As already know if you're watching my video since the beginning, right, we are discussing the main subject, that is management accounting, under which we have discussed something, right? In the previous we have understood the meaning, we had discussed the meaning and concept of the cost. Now today we will discuss the types of the cost, and here not the type in that category of the type of the cost, we will actually discuss the secondary type of the cost, because there are two types of the cost, two main classification is there. One is primary and another is secondary. Primary classification I have already discussed in my lecture 4. I will just give you the link in the description, you can see and you go and check, right? And the secondary classification which we are going to discuss today, right, that is secondary classification. I will tell you, because I have to if you talk about the types of the cost, if you talk about the cost classification, there are innumerable types of the cost. If you do not believe on my, right, find the books, find the internet, you will see the number of types of cost you cannot count even. So I will take here which are very much relevant to you, right, which are very much important from your examination point of view and from your subject point of view, which will help you to solve the further problems and practical problems and questions. So it is the secondary classification I am going to take today, but I will start from in the sequence, as it is the point 1, point 2, point 3, or the classification 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. So let's start, okay, one by one. Okay, all right, be careful. I would suggest, I have just because there might be those who are watching might be senior to me even, but I would suggest, when you are watching video and when you are, right, interested to learn any numerical and practical paper, just sit with a register and a copy or a pen. Just make a note, right? Otherwise retention, is very poor if you are not having pen, if you are not having register. So if you are studying any numerical paper, if you are studying any practical paper or accounting paper, you must have pen and register, and you should make a note. It's my only suggestion, right? It's a humble suggestion. If you want to understand well, if you want to inculcate the subject in your mind, अगर इसको engross करना चाहते हो, तो first classification, secondary classification. First, that is explicit and implicit cost. Explicit and implicit cost. So what do they mean? What do we mean by them? Explicit and implicit cost. So whenever you start with any topic, you just to try to drive the diction meaning of that, literal meaning of that. For example, if you are going to understand the explicit and implicit cost, just to try to take out the diction meaning, or you can say the literal meaning of explicit or the implicit. Explicit means, this is what? Explicit literally means clear, which is very much clear. Now we can sense out the meaning now. Explicit cost, I will write in short. Explicit cost is any cost which can be shown in the books of accounts. Simple. It's simple, right? No complication is that. Explicit cost is any cost, right, which can be shown in the books of the account. Whatever the cost, now let me define. Whatever the cost, whatever the expenses which you are showing in your books of the account, right? For example, if you are going to prepare some statement like profit and loss account, here you are going to write some expenses, here we are going to write some income. These are expenses, these are income. So you will write a lot of expenses like rent, this much, like commission, this much, like salary, this much. So whatever cost, whatever the expenses you have disclosed in the books of the account, which you have shown, right? So clear here means which you have made clear in the books of the accounts. That is your explicit cost. Fun thing that. Or you in other way you can say the cost which can be shown in the books of the account, जिसको हम बुक्स में दिखा सकते हैं, राइट, जिसको हम बुक्स में शो कर सकते हैं, हम उसको ही यहाँ पर explicit cost बोल रहे हैं. The cost which can be shown in the books of the account, that is actually the explicit cost. The cost which cannot now we are coming to another part, that right on the counter side, right, of that. Now we're going to tell what is implicit means. First, implicit literally means understood. Yeah, here it is also known as imputed cost. Imputed cost. Understood imputed cost, that has bearing, actually that has bearing maybe on the productivity or the profitability on your business, but that cannot be shown anywhere. That is known as implicit cost. That does exist, you know that, you realize that, right? But that is not seen actually. You know, there are a lot of things in the life, right, the benefit of which you reap, but you do not see them. They are known as intangible things, right? For example, intangible assets. You take the benefit of intangible asset, but you cannot show them in anywhere. Likewise, there are some expenses you are realizing. There are some expenses which are going to happen, but you cannot show them in the books of the account, right? That is the imputed cost, that is understood, or you can say the implicit. So, but that creeps in our mind. वो हमारे माइंड को क्रीप करती रहती है और वो हमें डिसीजन मेकिंग में हेल्प करती रहती है कि हाँ ये चीज़ हुई तो, बट हम इसको एक्सपेंसेस में शो नहीं कर सकते हैं. इट इज़ अंडरस्टूड. That is actually the implicit cost, right? So the cost which cannot be shown on the other side in the books of the account is the implicit cost. The cost which can be shown in the books of the account, that is not, right? Cost of profit. All right, that is imputed cost, right? You can say the cost which has bearing on the income. You can say the cost which is going to affect the income, that will definitely affect the income, but not your profit, because profit is something which is deliberately, right? The deliberations are there. You are expecting a sort of the profit, but the cost which is going to affect your income, right, indirectly, but you cannot show in the books of the account, that is known as implicit cost or imputed cost, right? Or you can say understood. I'm just thinking about, just to give the example of this, for example, in some businessman owners own resources, owners own resources, for example, right? Owners own resources. That's why in some books imputed cost or the implicit cost is also taken as the opportunity cost. Owners own resources here means, for example, if I am going to start a business, I will definitely dedicate a lot of time. Even I will spend more time than my employees is spending in my business. But I am going to decide the salary of my employee. मेरे यहाँ जो एम्प्लॉय काम कर रहे हैं, मैं उनकी सैलरी को डिसाइड कर रहा हूँ अपने यहाँ पर, बट एम आई डिसाइडिंग माई ओन सैलरी, बिकॉज मैं उनसे भी ज़्यादा टाइम लगा रहा हूँ वहाँ पर, उनसे भी ज़्यादा मैं अपना टाइम, हो सकता है दे आर स्पेंडिंग 8 hours और 9 hours, बट आई स्पेंडिंग 12 hours और 13 hours, बट आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू डिसाइड माई ओन सैलरी, राइट? थिंकिंग दैट इट इज़ माई ओन वेंचर. Owners own time, owners own resources, but I am having in my mind, for example, in future if I am incurring some loss, so what I will think, यार I should have done something else. मैं ये सोचता कि ये मैंने बिजनेस स्टार्ट करके ठीक नहीं किया, बिकॉज मैं यहाँ इतना टाइम भी लगा रहा हूँ, तो इतना टाइम अगर मैं किसी जॉब में लगाता या किसी सर्विस में भी लगाता, राइट, तो ये चीज़ क्या कहते हैं, मैं उसको ज़्यादा बेटर रहता. So that's why in some books it is also known as the opportunity cost. But if opportunity cost in the syllabus, I will define it separately. Opportunity cost, right? So this is actually the implicit cost. You can say where you cannot show in the books of the accounts, like for example, it is non-monetary, it is non-monetary or non-monetized, right? For example, I'm doing job in a metro city, and if a person doing job in a village, for example, right, in a village, he is also getting salary of 50,000. Any of you, if he is serving in a village, he is doing job in a village, 50,000. A person who is job in the metro city, he is also earning 50,000. But if you see the quantity, if you see the quantity, if you see the amount, of the salary is same, right? Both will say that we are earning 50,000. But if you will observe the other things, if you will observe the other variables, like for example, the cost of living, who is living in the village, the cost of living will be very much lesser in the comparison to the person who is living in the urban areas. So his saving will be completely affected. Who is living in the metro city, maybe he will not be save any penny और नॉट अ सिंगल रुपी, और जो यहाँ पर है हो सकता है वो सिर्फ 10,000 रुपये ही खर्च कर रहा हो और बाकी सारे सेव कर रहा हो. तो that is something but which we cannot show anywhere. This is only helps in decision making. So any cost which helps you in decision making is the implicit cost, but it cannot be shown anywhere, right? It cannot be shown anywhere in the books of the account. This is known as the implicit cost. So this is the distinction. I try to make it clear. However, it is very difficult to make it clear. Implicit cost, अगर आप बुक में भी देखेंगे तो बुक में भी आपको थोड़ा मुश्किल सही लगेगा लैंग्वेज, क्योंकि इसको सही से एग्जांपल देना मुश्किल है. बट मैंने आपको जिस तरीके से समझाने की कोशिश करी, मे बी आपको समझ में आया हो. इफ यू हैव नॉट अंडरस्टूड वेल, जस्ट गिव मी गो एंड गिव राइट रेज योर क्वेरीज एंड डाउट्स इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. आई विल ट्राई टू आंसर दैट. ओके, ऑलराइट. Now coming to the second classification. Second classification, if we talk about direct and indirect. Direct and indirect cost. Direct and indirect cost, actually, you can say direct cost is the cost which is incurring directly on the production of particular goods, which is incurring on directly on production, right, of goods and services, right? Or you can say the cost which is actually incurring in the factory or in the manufacturing. Better we use the word manufacturing. For example, and I can cite the example here. For example, if I am going to produce this marker and it is made up of plastic, right? So when I'm going to manufacture it, so my raw material will be definitely the plastic granules. I will require the plastic granule to produce this marker. So that raw material, actually, that raw material will be my direct cost. Then I will definitely require labor in the factory. So second thing, labor will be my direct cost. So any expenses which is directly engaged in the production, right, is that it is known your direct. Or any expenses which are not incurring directly in the factory, maybe they might be assisting the production. They might be assisting, for example, if I say fuel, power, maintenance, for example, lubricants, like tools. So these will be categorized in the indirect cost. Actually, what they are not the main part of the direct cost. They are not main part of the production, but they are assisting the production. So any cost which is either incurring in the factory, either that is incurring in the office, or either that is incurring in the sales department, whatever, but which is assisting in the production, which is assisting in the business, that is known as indirect cost. Or any cost which directly becomes the part of that, the production, without which the production cannot be possible. अगर मैं आपसे कहूँ कि ठीक है अभी हमारे पास lubricants नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं, तो क्या ये प्रोडक्शन रुक जाएगा? नहीं रुकेगा, नो प्रॉब्लम, कि वी कैन डिले इट. no problem. We can delay the tools, for example, we can utilize the old tools, no problem. We can delay the maintenance, अभी फिलहाल काम चलाओ. लेकिन क्या इसके बिना और इसके बिना हम प्रोडक्शन कर पाएंगे? नहीं. तो that's why it becomes a direct cost. So direct cost is any cost which is related to the manufacturing, right? And indirect cost is the cost which helps, which assists the production, either that is incurring in the factory, either that is incurring in the office, either that is incurring in the sales department. I hope that I have made the justice and I have made clear the difference here. There is no complication here. I think direct and indirect cost. Those who are the student of commerce already, those who have done their 11 12 in the commerce, they know that there are two accounts are prepared. One is trading account, another is profit and loss account. In trading account, they put all the expenses which is related to the factory. They are known as direct expenses. They put other expenses which are not included in the trading account. They put other expenses in the profit and loss account, and they are the indirect expenses, right? So this is all about the second classification. Now coming to the third classification is relevant and irrelevant cost. Relevant and irrelevant cost. Again, it would be difficult for me to make you understand. हो सकता है, because sometimes it happens you are very much clear in your mind, but it becomes difficult for you to make it things clear to the other people. So हो सकता है मुझे फिर इसको जिस तरह से इसमें थोड़ी सी डिफिकल्टी आए आपको समझाने में, हो सकता है इसको भी समझाने में मुझे आपको थोड़ी बहुत difficulty आ सकती है, but I will try my best to make you understand. Hope you will understand. I told you, you are open. I'm open to the queries. I always encourage the queries. No problem. Relevant cost. Why we are calling the relevant cost? The cost which is related to your decision making, right? The cost. I'm talking about this, which is affected by your decision, or which depends on your decision, that is your relevant cost. Which is relevant to your decision making, that is your relevant cost, right? On other side, you can say, however, that is a different distinction, but I can merely say here, this is somehow a controllable cost. Controllable cost because this is relevant to your decision making, right? If you have taken some decision, that cost may start arising. If you have taken a decision, that cost may stop, right? So this is the cost which, depending on your decision, if you have taken some decision, right, the cost will stop to incur. If you have taken the decision, that cost will start to incur, right? ये हो गया आपका relevant cost जो आपकी directly आपके decision पर है. आप चाहें तो उसे बढ़ाइए, आप चाहें तो उसे घटाइए. Either it is up to you, either you are going to increase it or you are going to decrease it. But the cost which is not in your hand, which is completely irrelevant to your decision making, not in your hand or control, but again I would say, but again essential to comprehend, again essential to comprehend, to understand, again like the as we have understood the distinction between these here. तो इसके बारे में भी आपको समझना ज़रूरी है. However, it is, I have told you something, the cost which is not depending on your decision, the cost which is completely irrelevant to your decision making, जो आपकी decision making से related है ही नहीं. It means you are not having any control on that. But you should understand the concept of that irrelevant cost. So just I can give you the example here so that it would be easier for you to understand. Suppose you are importing, you are not importing, just you are purchasing your goods from right, you are using you are purchasing your raw material from city A to city A from city B. These are cities actually. Cities. You are purchasing, here is your factory and you are purchasing your raw material B and you have to purchase 2 tons of raw material from city बी, सिटी बी से आपको क्या करना है, सिटी बी से आपको यू हैव टू परचेज द 2 tons ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल फॉर एग्जांपल, एंड any kind of the material, I'm not talking about here what kind of the factory that is, but you have decided that you will purchase 2 tons of raw material, but suddenly you have taken a decision, right? Then instead purchasing 2 tons you will purchase 3 tons, right? You have changed your decision. Now this additional cost of 1 ton, this additional cost of 1 ton will be borne by you definitely, and this is completely relevant to your decision making because it was on your decision. You have taken this decision. First you have taken the decision that you have to buy 2 tons of raw material. Now you have taken the decision, and then instead of buying the 2 tons of raw material you will buy 3 tons of the raw material, but the additional cost of 1 ton will be borne by you, and this is the relevant cost, right? But definitely there are something which is understood, right? Definitely you understand well कि जब ट्रक्स आ रहे हैं तो फ्यूल, ड्राइवर सैलरी, will not change. Maybe some of them will change or some of them will not change. Maybe this may change, right? Driver salary, fuel may change because but driver salary will not change definitely. Depreciation, maybe if you are if you have overloaded the trucks, definitely the depreciation will increase, but that is completely uncontrollable, that is completely irrelevant to your decision making. It was not in your decision, it was not in your hand कि आप इस चीज़ को भी कंट्रोल करोगे, कि जब आप 2 टन से 3 टन कर रहे हो तो आप इस चीज़ को भी कंट्रोल करोगे नहीं ना, क्योंकि आपका सिटी बी से सिटी ए में ही जा रहा है. सिटी बी से ए में पहले भी ट्रक्स जा रहे थे, पहले भी आपको फ्यूल देना था, पहले भी आपको ड्राइवर की सैलरी देनी थी, पहले भी आपको डेप्रिसिएशन देना था, राइट? आफ्टर बियरिंग वन additional cost of 1 ton may have some bearing on these, right, variables, but you do not have any control. That's why this cost is completely irrelevant, because it is completely irrelevant to your decision making. It is not in your decisions, right? You cannot change that. Understood that? So I just gave you the example just to make you understand the irrelevant cost. तो any cost which is irrelevant to your decision making, कि आपके कंट्रोल में है, कि आप 2 की जगह चाहे 1 टन मंगाएं, 1 टन की जगह 3 टन मंगाएं, 4 टन मंगाएं, वो आपके ऊपर है. बट जो फ्यूल है, जो ड्राइवर की सैलरी है, जो डेप्रिसिएशन है, दैट विल रिमेन constant or may not remain constant, but that is not in your hand. That's why they become completely irrelevant to your decision making. This is the distinction between the relevant and irrelevant. I hope that I have made it clear. Again, I'm understanding myself that I am just making you understand, because the only drawback of teaching like this, because you do not know the reaction of your viewers, right? You do know the reactions of your learners. So ये प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है. अदरवाइज डायरेक्ट क्लास का यही होता है, बिकॉज नो रिप्लेसमेंट ऑफ द डायरेक्ट इंटरेक्शन. दैट्स वाई. कमिंग टू द नेक्स्ट इज shutdown cost and sunk cost. Shutdown cost and sunk cost. Again, very much important from the point of view of management accounting subject, right? From the point of the cost classification also, you must understand it. Shutdown cost. Shutdown cost actually is the cost which keeps on, I'm talking about this, which keeps on incurring even business operations are closed. Even the business operations are closed. बहुत बार ऐसा होता है. There are a lot of factories, even I'm talking about those regular factories even, but there are a lot of factories which run on the seasonal basis. तो machines do not run 12 months. Machines जो हैं वहाँ पर 12 महीने नहीं चलती हैं. If you talk about, for example, sugar cane factories, शुगर केन फैक्ट्रीज जहां शुगर बनती है, तो आप क्या सोचते हैं कि शुगर केन फैक्ट्रीज वो 12 मंथ्स रन होती हैं? नो, दे ओनली रन 4 or 5 months. Then after they close down. So do you think that after closing down, when the business operations are completely closed and are on afoot, so do you think there will not be any cost which will not incur in that factory or in that sugar factory? There will be a lot of other costs also which will keep on incurring even though the business are closed, even though manufacturing is closed. You have to take care of the machines, you have to you have to pay the salary of machinist because you have to hire for 1 year. ऐसा तो है नहीं कि आप 3 या 4 महीने के लिए मशीनिस्ट हायर करेंगे, फिर उसके बाद फिर दूसरा मशीनिस्ट हायर करेंगे. आपको एक मैकेनिक और एक मैकेनिक आपको हमेशा 12 महीने रखना पड़ेगा. तो जो उसको रिमेनिंग मंथ्स के लिए जो आप उसको सैलरी दोगे, तो क्या वो आपकी शटडाउन कॉस्ट नहीं होगी? इवन इफ यू हैव हायर्ड अ गार्ड इन द फैक्ट्री, if you have hired a supervisor in the factory, you have to pay the salary. So you have to pay for maintenance even, right? For maintenance of the factory, for maintenance of the building, for maintenance of the machine, you have to pay for, and that is known as your shutdown cost. The cost which keeps on even incurring even though business are closed down. For cooler manufacturing companies, right? Coolers जो बनाने वाली जो local company हैं, तो जब वो 2 या 3 महीने कूलर्स बनते हैं उसके बाद फिर बंद रहते हैं, तो क्या फिर उसके बाद वो फैक्ट्री में बंद हो जाता है? नो, स्टिल देयर आर लॉट ऑफ मेंटेनेंस एंड रिपेयर्स आर कीप्स ऑन गोइंग. सो लॉट ऑफ कॉस्ट कीप्स ऑन इनकरिंग, दैट इज नोन एज शटडाउन कॉस्ट, राइट? ऑन द अदर साइड, sunk cost. Sunk means what? Sunk is the past participle of sink. Sink, sank, sunk. Sink means डूबना, which drowns, right? The thing which has drawn, that is known as sunk. The thing which is drawn. So yeah, cost here means the cost which has, right, which has been committed completely. You can say, if we come to the defining that, the cost which has started, which has the cost which has incurred taking any decision in past but can change, taking any decision in future, that is known as sunk cost. That is known as sunk cost. All right, the cost which has already incurred taking any decision in past. For example, I am going to start a business. I have set up plant and machinery, right? So I have taken the decision. I will run a business. I have already committed a cost. This is also, that's why it is known as a committed cost also. इसलिए हम इसको committed cost भी बोलते हैं. Once the commitment is done, then is done. Commitment जो हो गई तो हो गई. तो एक बार जो आपने commitment कर दी past में, once you have committed that you have purchased the plant, you have purchased the land, you have purchased the factory for a particular business, you cannot change taking any decision in future. Now you cannot change that. हाँ, इतना ज़रूर है, you can sell the business. We are not talking about that. We are talking about even the business you are having with you and you are running it, but you cannot change in the future. That is known as sunk cost. Sunk cost means जो पैसा लग गया सो लग गया. Indirectly here means committed cost. The cost which has been committed. Generally you can give the example of fixed cost here. Generally यहाँ पर fixed cost के example दिए जाते हैं जो cost हमारी लग गई सो लग गई यहाँ पर. This is known as a sunk cost. All right. एक और classification I just want to make you tell you here. No, I will not go very much in detail, right? Product cost and period cost. Product cost and the period cost. There are another classification, product cost. It is very simple to understand if you apply, right? Any cost which is attributable, which is attributed to the quantity of the product, that is known as product cost. Which is measurable to the quantity of the product, that is product cost. Or any cost which is measurable in context of period, that is known as period cost. or you can say the time or the duration or months. The cost which incurs according to the quantity of goods. Here, how much you are manufacturing, that is your product cost. For example, raw material, for example, labor, you pay according to the quantity of goods. Right? If you are increasing the production of the quantity, definitely you have to increase the raw material. If you are increasing the labor, if you are increasing the quantity of the goods, definitely you have increased the labor. So it means the raw material and the labor are based on the quantity of the goods. That's why it is the goods or the product. That's why it is known as the product cost. इसलिए अब इसको product cost बोलते हैं. Anything which is measured, any cost which is measured according to the time period, that is known as the period cost, right? That is not only restricted to the factory, that may be diversified into different departments. For example are electricity, rent. For example, I hired a building, right? In that particular building, I hired 2 or 3 buildings, right? I am paying rent. In that, the production is also going on, right? Office work is also going on, right? Sales department is also running that, but I have to pay the rent. Rent is paid according to the quantity of goods? No. Rent is paid according to the time. I have to fix the time. Maybe monthly, or maybe 6 monthly, or maybe yearly, whatever. Right? For example, electricity. Electricity will be used in the factory. Electricity will be used in the office. Electricity will be used in the sales department also. So electricity bill will not be according to the quantity of the goods. It will be according to the time period. That's why it is a period cost. So it is very simple to understand the concept. I hope that whatever I have taught here, I have stretched. Even there are some one very important classification has been left, but I will make a separate video on that. That is the opportunity cost. Wait for that. But now I have tried my best to make you understand these 3. If you have any doubt, if you want any revision, please go in the comment section and tell me whether it is clear to you or not, right? If you like, then please like, and if you want to be a regular subscriber, please subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching this video patiently. See you soon. Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.